What's up guys, Justin here with the Rhino Essentials. So in today's video, we're kicking off my series on getting started working in Rhino. This is going to be a step-by-step series designed to help you get started with the program. So this is specifically designed to be a step-by-step series that teaches you how to use the program. So if you are a beginner looking to use Rhino, this is a good place to start. I will link to the full playlist as I start adding videos to this in the notes down below this video. But let's go ahead and just jump into it. All right, so note that I'm teaching this in Rhino version 8. So things may look a little bit different if you have an older version of Rhino. But when you first start working in Rhino, you're going to get a window that pops up that looks like this when you open this up. Now this is going to have different things in here, like it's going to show recent things that you've worked on within Rhino. There's an option over here to set a template. So these are all things that you can adjust, but it's going to allow you to set mostly the template for your unit of measure that you're going to be using. So depending on where you're at, this is obviously going to be different. But then you can also set or pick different units depending on if you have a large or a small model. And it even kind of tells you, like, relative to the size of a truck, what models you should be working with. So you can pick any of these, but you can change your unit of measure later on. Now over here on the right hand side, there is news. So these are new things that are happening for Rhino, as well as some different tips and tutorials. Now, for right now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're just going to pick we'll go with the large objects feet and feet inches. It doesn't really matter for what we're doing in this video. But when you open this up, this is what Rhino is going to look like. Now yours might look a little bit different because I have dark mode turned on. I know having things look a little bit different can be a little bit disconcerting. So just to get dark mode, if you want to do dark mode, you can go up to File, Properties, Appearance. You want to click on the little drop down, you want to go to Colors, and there's the option to go between dark and light mode right here. I don't actually remember if Rhino 8 defaults to light mode or dark mode. I've just been in dark mode for a long time, but you can adjust that by clicking on the box. You can actually customize other things about your viewport over here, but in this case, I'm just going to go with dark mode. We're going to go ahead and click on OK. So now when you have Rhino in front of you, it's going to look something like this. So you're probably going to have 4 windows in here. You're going to have toolbars, a menu bar, and then some more bars and some other things. So let's go through those real quick. So first off, you've got your typical file bar. So that's going to give you access to most of the tools contained inside a Rhino. So you can see how as you go through here, you can actually see most of these tools in here. So all your different kinds of curves and just pretty much everything having to do with your modeling tools, you can access them from here. Generally, we're not going to do that though. Generally, we're going to do that from down here. Now, Rhino is a command line tool, meaning it's kind of like AutoCAD in the sense that you can type in the names of tools and it'll activate them. So if I was to type in line, for example, notice how it gives me options for what's going to happen with the line, and it's also activated a tool in here that's allowing me to draw a line. So you can type things in this command line to activate tools, or you can use any of the tools that are down below here. So notice how you've got a toolbar at the top of the page, which basically gives you access to a little bit of everything. You can click across these and see the different tools, and you can click on these little buttons in order to activate tools. So this one's not going to work because I don't have a curve in here right now. But if we go back to, let's go with transform. Say we wanted to move an object. I could activate the move tool by clicking on move here, and then notice how it's the same as me typing in move up above. I can pick an object, and then it's going to ask me to hit enter, and then I can do things with the object like this. So you have your different toolbars in here. Note that you can click and drag these and you can dock them to different parts of your screen. So I can click and drag and dock it to the left, the right, the top, really whatever I want in here. You can click and drag all of these different toolbars and move them around. So it's a very adjustable workspace. Now, you can also add additional panels or additional tools in here. So I could add like a properties panel in here if I wanted to do that, or I could also right click and I can create my own custom toolbars. So I could do a show toolbars. Notice how when I click on this, additional toolbars are going to show up. Or I could create a new toolbar, which would allow me to create a toolbar with my own custom tools in here, right? So I could add different tools to the toolbar, that kind of thing. Not going to worry too much about that in this video, but it is something you can do. Now, on the left-hand side, these toolbars are pretty similar to this toolbar. It just gives you access to additional tools. And so, like, for example, you've got this tool set over here, which is going to allow you to do things like activating tools by clicking on them like this in order to draw. So you do have additional tools in here is basically what I'm getting at. So down below there's some selection filter stuff. So we're not going to worry too much about that right now. That basically allows you to filter out what you can select. So for example, if I uncheck curves, notice how I can't select the curves that are in here anymore. So and notice how it will kind of automatically disable that if you're not picking up what you want in here. But you can use that selection filters in order to filter what kind of things are selected. And so over here on the right hand side, you've got your properties bar, which is going to give you access to things like your viewport properties, going to give you access to things like adjusting the way things are displayed in here, as well as doing things like being able to adjust the textures and materials that are applied in this model. Now, if you select something in your viewport, notice how your properties window is going to change. So for example, if I took this curve and I clicked on it, notice how my properties window is going to give me these different options. So I could do things like putting this on different layers. So if I wanted to put this on layer 1, for example, notice how that's in here on layer 1. And now if I toggle layer 1 on and off, that's going to show and hide. So you can use the properties in order to adjust different things about your objects. And then one thing I do as a beginner really want to bring your attention to is this tool right here, the help function. So the cool thing about the help function is you can actually use this. So say that I was to type in extrude curve over here to activate the extrude curve function. Notice how this help toolbar is actually going to pop up the help file from the documentation inside of your model to show you things about the way that your tools work. So when I activated this tool, notice how the tool is active, but this also pops up a little window that's going to show you how that tool works. So it's going to tell you, all right, select a curve, specify a distance, and then do this. So it's going to give you instructions on the different tools. So if I was to type in line and hit the enter key, notice how the line function shows up over here. So this is extremely helpful as you are trying to learn how to use different things in Rhino. There's a lot of really good information over here in this toolbar. And so now at the bottom of the page, you've got a number of different things that you can toggle on and off that are going to do different things with the way that you can work inside of your model. So for example, notice how when I click on this right now, I'm getting this kind of like 3D gumball thing that I can use in order to adjust this. Well, notice how there's options to toggle that on and off, right? So it's a very valuable thing. I usually leave it on. This gives you the ability to kind of like click and drag and move things, but you can toggle that on and off right here. The other thing that you can do down below, there's other things you can do too, but one of the other things that you're going to do a lot of is snapping. So you can toggle your snapping on and off by clicking on this button right here. And what that's going to do is that's going to set your objects so that, say you were to move them, for example. So I would set a base point right here, and notice how this is snapping in different directions into different things. That's happening because that object snap, that O snap, is toggled on. Now notice how if I toggle that O snap off, and I'm also going to toggle ortho off, it's adjusting the way that you can move things around in your model like this. So you can use this in order to toggle your snapping on and off inside of your scene like this. So super valuable. We're going to do a lot with that in the future, but for now, just note that that's there. So the 3D viewport is basically where all the work is done, right? It's where your 3D things exist and live inside of Rhino. So one of the things you might have noticed when you're working in Rhino is you've got multiple different viewports showing different views of the same model. And one of mine went away, so I'm just going to right click in here and I'm just going to bring us back to 4 viewports right here, just so I have that. But notice how each one of these windows is basically just a different view into your model. So it's just looking at things kind of the same way. So we'll take a look at those windows a little bit more in a second. The first thing is something that I usually do because I come from other 3D modeling programs where the middle mouse button usually orbits. So in the base Rhino version, you can orbit around your model by clicking and dragging the right mouse button. So, and that's fine. For me, I'm used to using the middle mouse button to do that. So I usually go into my file, properties, and within my navigation settings or my mouse settings, I want to check the box for manipulate view. And I set manipulate view rotate under middle mouse button. So basically what that means is that now if I click and hold the middle mouse button, it's going to rotate around on the screen like this. You can also hold the shift key in order to pan. But each one of these viewports is looking into your model. And one of the things that's going to be really valuable for you is you want to make sure that you're using a 3-button mouse. So it's got a left click, a right click, and a scroll wheel. So that scroll wheel is going to allow you to zoom in and out based on your mouse location. So notice how if I put my mouse over different locations and I scroll up and down, this is going to zoom in and out. And so what happens is you start navigating around in the 3D space by clicking and holding the middle mouse button. You can hold the shift key and clicking and holding the middle mouse button to pan. You can also zoom in and out by scrolling your mouse wheel. And so what this does is this allows you to get really precise with your movements really quickly just by using those different functions. So in general, I mean, there are definitely tools. So you could go into your set view functions, and you can activate these tools just by clicking on them right here, right? So there's a zoom extents, which is actually really valuable. There's a zoom window. So there are other tools in here, but in general, you're going to use that middle mouse button in order to do a lot of your navigation. Now, looking at this, notice how I have multiple different windows in here, right? I've got a perspective view, I've got the top view, the front view, and the right view. First off, you can double click on one of them in order to isolate it. So if you want to go into just top mode or just front mode, you can double click right here. These are all fully adjustable windows. So I can click and drag them if you want one of them to be larger, one of them to be smaller, whatever, you can do that using this tool. You can also click on the drop down and you can adjust the way that these work. So for example, I could toggle this into a wireframe mode where I don't see any of the faces in my model anymore. I can also toggle into a rendered mode, which is actually going to render the way this would look if light was applied to it. And then there's other modes in here too, right? There's a ghosted mode, there's an X-ray mode. You can adjust between these using your different options in here just by clicking on the drop down and picking those different options. So some of them are a little bit more artistic, so it just kind of depends on what you're trying to do in here. A lot of the time I just work in the shaded mode, but note how each one of these is going to be able to do its own thing. So this one, for example, notice how I can have this one ray traced, I can have this one ghosted, I can have this one be the pin. Now I don't necessarily recommend that you do this because you're using a lot of your computer when you do this way. So a lot of the time I work just in shaded mode, but each one of these is its own individual viewport in here that you can adjust and apply your settings to. Now notice how you can also select those by clicking on the little tabs right here. So you can add tabs for different layouts at the bottom of the page as well. But then you can also come in here and you can do things like if you wanted your viewport layout to only be a single viewport, or maybe you wanted it to be 3 viewports or something like that. There's options for different viewport layouts in here that you can set up. So in this case, you know, I might go back to the 4 viewports, but you can adjust those using these settings right here. There's a ton of things in here, by the way, so you can work with clipping planes, which allows you to do like sections in your models. We're not going to get like super in depth with those for right now. I just mostly want you to be familiar with what's there. And by the way, if you ever accidentally close some of these viewports, so you can click the drop down and you can close them right here. Notice how these viewports can be clicked and dragged around, so you can move them and adjust them. And you can always go back to that 4 viewport just by clicking on the drop down right here, going to viewport layout and clicking on 4 viewports. Alternatively, if you do want to work just in one viewport, you can just double click on it and then just work from there like this. So high level, that should give you an idea of how to navigate around inside of Rhino, how to work with the different viewports, things like that. In the next video, we're going to get a little bit more in depth on starting to model in Rhino. So if you have any questions about anything we talked about, feel free to leave them down below, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.